otherwise just played so phenomenally, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen here in the picks and bans. We can see Cassiopeia is going to be the first one coming out from Hong Kong Esports. They still don't want to see that, and still that Callista coming across as well. So seeing some repeat bans so far. The Nidalee Rise and the Gragas and the Thresh have still yet to come out. We'll see what's going to happen here, though.
And in the previous game, we saw a huge prioritization of kind of safe picks from Hong Kong Esports with the Maokai, with the with the Corki as their first rotation. Now that they have first picked, I expect to see them pick something much more dominant, much more powerful in this champion select, because they have the power to take the Echo first if they want it. They have the power to take a Jace or a Varus if they want that as well. 80 mids are so polarizing. The bans, though, looking nearly identical. Nidalee and Rise also coming out.
Shen, actually, though, to shake it up a little bit. We're going to see that one taken away from... I mean, that could be from Chunks, that could be from LOFS. We've seen that played both in the support and the top lane roles, but that will be taken off the board. So last ban coming through. What do you do if you're Midnight Sun? Do you take away the Echo? Do you take away any other of those junglers? You don't. You go for the Gragas.
So Shen, obviously, the very solid counter option to Gragas, because you can match his map pressure with your stand united and then still be able to teleport back to lane to pressure, or vice versa. So by picking Shen, they telegraphed this early Maokai pick for May. We could expect that immediately, and Midnight Sun probably expected that as well. So it looks like we're keeping in the theme of defensive responses, because we now see this Thresh and this Rek'Sai locked in. Jungle support, generally the safest set of picks you can make, because you're not revealing a whole lot about your team composition by doing so.
Yeah. And with that Maokai coming in, looks like it's May's comfort pick going for that one. Had a fantastic game. His teleports were on point all throughout that last match. His CS was phenomenal as well. Actually had matched CS, and I think it was about 33 minutes, had matched CS with God JJ. 305 at the 33-minute mark. Played fantastically on that Maokai. You can see the Sivir has been locked in, so really looking for that go composition. The Righteous Glory on the Maokai on the top. You get that that ultimate off from the Sivir in the bot side. So really going to be looking to hound down, and with this long hover over the Echo, we might see Dinter pick this one up. I like this over the Evelynn because, like I said before, Evelynn can be spotted out by that Rek'Sai's Tremors.
Yeah, Tremor Sense, obviously, a very crucial ability, does give you a lot better sense of where the Evelynn is going to be. Isn't absolutely dominating or oppressive against Evelynn, but just having that flexibility will make Empty's jungle path a lot easier. And Evelynn's pressure, it'll mitigate it to a certain degree. It looks like they're a pretty big fan of this Morgana, though. Picking it up for Ola once again.
Yeah, and also a pretty big fan of the Graves. You can see Stitches opting to go for that one. Had a bit of a lackluster performance, as we touched on, at the beginning of the break there. But gonna go back to this. He's got the Thresh this time, so they should have much more reliable lockdown. The concussive blows is not really something that's great for Graves to stack off of, but if you hook somebody in with a death sentence, that could be much more reliable CC for Stitch to be able to unload his buckshot and then use the collateral damage post 6 to really just try to melt through God JJ Sivir. But he has to be worried about that spell shield that Sivir has. If he eats the collateral damage, that's a huge burst of Graves' DPS that's just absolutely out the window.
Yeah, and it looks like MSE are sticking with the strategy of having this oppressive bot lane with with Chunks on something that he can make plays on, like the Braum, and now in this game the Thresh, and also leaving Stitch on that aggressive 80 carry Graves. Like you said, collateral damage, such a massive piece of burst. But Sivir, a very polarizing champion. Anytime she appears on a composition, we have to talk about it. The final lock-ins coming through for HKE.
Yeah, both Victor and the Echo. So Victor, the Curse of the LMS, will be making a return. We'll have to see how he's going to fare in the mid lane. But Dinter says, you know what? I'm going to show you how it's done. Locks in that Echo, brings that one to the jungle.
Okay, let's talk. So this is Victor Echo is one of my favorite mid lane jungle pairings in the entire game right now, because with the gravity field, you have a reliable way to slow. Now, of course, on this patch, the way slows interact, they no longer stack. Multiplicatively, they no longer stack at all. So just the strongest slow is going to carry through. So you can't match those slows together to really trap someone in the parallel convergence, but with good coordination, you can still turn a non-lethal gravity field into a very lethal gravity field by chaining it in with Echo and reliable, interesting gank paths. So if Dinter wants to make early impact yet again, this is an excellent combo to do it with.
Yeah, I really like the team composition coming from the side of Hong Kong Esports here. Like you said, Gravity Field into Parallel Convergence with Chaos Storm stacked on top of that, and then your Soul Shackles from the Morgana. It's just infinite numbers of CC that they're bringing to the table, as well as Maze Maokai that can just dive onto the backline and just lock down.
And of course, the mobility from Sivir too has to be stated as well, because Victor, normally really struggles to get into the backline effectively. He's a relatively short-range mage in the mid to late game and can really get poked out by champions like Azir that Candy is now locked in. But Sivir will mitigate that. But let's talk about MSE a little bit.
Yeah, so taking a look at these guys, you see this Gnar is really going to have to be succeeding in the top side, I feel, for LOFS. If he's not able to get ahead and make those teleport plays, then it's just not going to be impactful, and I feel like they're not going to perform well in the team fights. If he can teleport down around Dragon, or maybe just engage in the bot side of the map, and then get a huge Mega Gnar ultimate into the wall and lock up the members of HKE, that could be game-breaking in favor of MSE. But it's just a matter of whether or not he can execute.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, more than anything, what this looks like from Midnight Sun is this is the dominant lane performances that they want to have. Candy, the only person who has a weak early game lane. Gnar, obviously gets to harass, gets to be oppressive in the early to mid game. Graves, Thresh, I mean, not a lane we see a whole lot of, but so much raw power. A single death sentence at level 6 results almost in a guaranteed kill. The box provides so much burst damage, as well as the Flay, and then, of course, you got Graves to back you up as well, and Graves, an insane damage spike at level 6 with that collateral damage, and doesn't really need any items to help that one out either.
Yeah, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. It's just a matter of whether or not he can perform better than he did in the last game, which we're going to find out once we get on the Rift.
And I do really like the adjustment with Thresh here, because I think if anything's going to help him perform, it's going to be that to jump into the game.
All right, and here we are, ladies and gentlemen, on the Rift for Game 2. Hong Kong Esports now on the blue side, Midnight Sun on the red. Hong Kong Esports looking to ride that momentum wave off of that first win, that pretty crushing victory that they had over Midnight Sun Esports in that first round. Different picks coming out, of course. We've seen a very slightly altered pick and ban phase, but the biggest thing that I'm excited to see now is Dinter on this Echo.
And it's very interesting that both teams altered their strategy so drastically. I mean, a completely different team comp from MSE outside of the Graves, and almost entirely different from HKE as well, keeping the Morgana and the Maokai. They want those rocks for their team, these solid, reliable characters, but mixing up the rest. And I mean, Dinter on this Echo is going to be the big question. Empty on this Rek'Sai. These guys now both on more comfortable picks. Dinter obviously off the Evelynn, which we saw a huge impact on, but 9-1 and 17 last time these guys played. MSE have to be scared. They're down a game, and now we've got a character that the last time they saw it in the hands of this jungler single-handedly carried the game. So a lot of pressure.
Yeah, and if HKE walks away with this one, the pressure of a reverse sweep is just going to be so immense in the faces of Midnight Sun. Be quite a feat to accomplish if they'd be able to do that, but I won't get ahead of myself here. MSE, they had a very strong showing in about the mid game of the last match. Looked like they finally had a breath of life and started making some plays, but we'll see if they're able to do just that. We take a look. Ola playing quite far forward here. Gets the binding over onto Empty, trying to disrupt that jungle as much as he possibly can. Won't be able to achieve too much, but he's going to stick around this red buff and still harass as much as he possibly can. See LOFS going to be eating that one. The brunt of the damage going across onto him. Actually uses the health potion, so he will not have that when he goes back into lane.
And this is excellent knowledge from Ola. They picked Morgana to go in on the strong side of the map because they have more players, because of this lane swap. And so we can do this confidently.
But look at this pinch.
But it might not be the strong side of the map anymore.
Yeah, Chunks is coming around the side. We know. Oh, Chunks took the play. Not able to find that one. The flash does get burned out here from Ola, though. Lands one last binding. LOFS being taken quite low, but that will be the red buff going over to Empty. Very nice harass, though. Loses his flash for it.
Yeah, and now this forces up Chunks to join the jungle as well. So now you've got what is basically a trio jungle. Graves, of course, more than happy to solo farm in the bottom lane and pressure in, but you've just burned all of your early game resources, all of your early game pressure on protecting your own jungle. Ola just gets to go back to top lane, just gets to sit with God JJ, gets to make up that farm, and they've lost so much in terms of very early game impact. Is it going to affect the team as we move forward? We're going to have to see. But already, HKE making the dominant moves that they made in the mid-game, already in this early few steps.
And we see MSE riding this way forward, not really looking for the freeze. They're just going to put the pressure down on the tower. May walking back will be able to get there in time, not even going to use the teleport this time around. So both top laners will still have that TP pressure available for them. We'll see what differences that makes this time around. You can see May getting that nice ward over, making sure that he's alone at the spot side. Oh, the teleport actually being burned out now by LOFS.
This is actually a very interesting response coming in from MSE. HKE are totally prepared for this. And they
Dinter goes forward. He gets the shield now. May has to flash out. Gnar getting those excited stacks. May gets grabbed in with that death sentence. Going to get under the tower in time. He does not. Braceseeker takes him down empty, finding the first blood just 4 minutes into this game. And now the rest of HKE maybe in a little bit of a bad spot. Dinter not going to have that parallel conviction for a few more seconds. Ola goes in, underneath the tower, has that shield. Dinter gets a nice double stun, but is it enough? Chunks is eating the turret shots. He goes forward, flashes out. He will go down. The fireback kill goes over to Dinter. Now a 2-1 in favor of HKE. What a interesting play.
So this is exactly what happened when we run through it. MSE, at the end of the day, they wanted to force this dive on the bottom side of the map. They had enough members to commit. HKE, they were smart in the way they responded. They saw the dive coming a mile away. They committed so many members to the bottom side of the map. What they didn't expect was that fast teleport in from LOFS. They thought they were going to have the man advantage, but it turned into that even fight. Meanwhile, on the top side, though, GodJJ has been free to farm, free to get to that level 6 as fast as possible for Sivir. And HKE still managed to come out on top in this one due to some excellent map reads, and what started to be a dive in the favor of MSE turned drastically in the favor of Hong Kong Esports.
Yeah, and you also can't discredit Dinter there with a fantastic, well, the second parallel convergence gets a fantastic double stun, getting Chunks, really low off of that one as he was just eating those turret shots locked up inside of that AoE, and he was able to pick up that last kill. So fantastic play by him. You can already see about 1,000 gold lead stretching now in favor of Hong Kong Esports. We saw this happen last time, and it went from 1.7 thousand to about 7,500 in a very short period of time.
Well, and the big difference that we see in these two teams, when they played standard lanes, they were so content to just extend the laning phase as long as possible. Now that we forced the lane swap, both teams playing so much more aggressive, looking for so much more junglers, both of them on the top side of the map. GodJJ and Oleg could be in trouble.
Yeah, but do they want to go for this dive? Stitch gets bound up, takes a lot of damage. Excellent spell shield will stop that death sentence there. Ola taking a little bit of damage there, has to respect that play. Parallel convergence comes in, does not get the stun onto Chunks, but he's taking a lot of damage, and now Ola in a bad spot has to retreat out of this one. Looks like he will get out alive. Dinter, he's on to Stitch, he gets the kill, and now Chunks maybe the next one as he gets slowed out by that Q. The swing back off the boomerang blade. GodJJ finds himself a kill as well.
And this is just,
Oh, Candy on the top side. Parallel convergence comes down on top of them. Candy taking a lot of damage. GodJJ doesn't have too much mana. And that's going to be Candy retreating as fast as he can, shuffling his soldiers around so he can side to them. Toys has also joined his team in this top side, and he's going to be hunting for these kills. I don't think he's going to be able to find anything, but this should be some good pressure on this top side. Applied by HKE. Let's take a look at this replay.
So this right here is why people pick in ban Echo. Look at this. Dinter, solo, doesn't need the stun. GodJJ forced to flash out, forced to get out, but watch Dinter. Watch how much pressure he puts down on Stitch with just his base damages. And the most important thing, the thing you can never forget about Echo is when he builds full tank, his damage looks so bad. But read parallel convergence, read that passive. You hit 30% health, he's got an execute. And it's available so quickly, so reliably. So he's ticking away at you, barely doing anything, and then suddenly you're dead. And that's the strength of this jungle Echo.
Huge, huge catch there for him. Stitch, yet again, having a rough start on that Graves. You can see by comparison, comes back into lane with a pickaxe to a BF sword on the side of GodJJ. Going to be having a much better time throwing out those boomerang blades. Should be able to rip through the HP of these minions. You can see he's actually deterred back to the bot side of the map. Stitch still sticking around the top. He will go up against May's Maokai, but Graves historically is not a champion that does well into tanky matchups. I don't see this being anywhere in his favor. Death Sentence does connect, however. This gets some free harass onto May. He should be able to stain this back up with his sap magic passive, and Stitch even takes a tower shot for his trouble.
And once again, we have to give HKE so much credit for the way that they've played the game so far. They knew, looking at the composition that MSE had assembled, that they would want standard lanes, that they would want the 2v2 on the bottom side, the solo lane in the top, and they immediately swapped on it. MSE didn't expect it, did not generate the vision at level 1 necessary to see the lane swap, and as a result, they did not get their necessary lane matchups. The lane swap is played out beautifully for HKE, And now we have a Sivir who should have fallen behind early in a 2v2 lane, but instead got to farm for free in a solo lane, now has a substantial advantage over the Graves, and is going to provide maybe a little less damage, but an insane amount more of utility.
Yeah, and speaking of that, we've seen the roam pressure coming in from both of these mid laners, Toys and Candy, in that last fight. Did wander up to the top side. Haven't really been able to become impactful. But even so, Toys is still stretching himself quite the lead here. 74 to 61 CS on the Victor, and that's fantastic. To keep down Candy as long as possible, because that Azir is obviously going to scale quite well in the late game, but the longer that takes for him to become remotely powerful, the stronger Toys is going to be able to excel. We've seen his champion pull. We've seen how well he can play, especially in that last game. This is looking so good for them. This is going to be the go button. Pressure in the bot side. Chunks gets slowed out. Parallel Convergence comes in. Stitch, he will get locked down. He's going to go down. Dinter, the god of Echo, finds himself another kill now. 4-0-1. Just 9.5 minutes into this game.
God of Echo may be a little bit strong of a title, but that bind from Ola was beautiful, and the follow-up for Dinter was there. And this is the big thing that we were concerned about looking at Empty's Echo last game. He had no CC to set up for this chain CC with Parallel Convergence. He had to fire it blind, hope that someone would get caught. Dinter doesn't have to play that way. The second that binding lands, he is guaranteed that 2.25 second stun anytime he can get it. And you just saw exactly how effective it was. Graves didn't stand a chance. The second anything hits that guy, he goes down.
Yeah, which is saying a lot considering that he's one of the tankier AD carries because of that true hit passive. It's just not doing anything for him. He's not able to get those stacks even to try to mitigate damage. Just keeps getting caught out and burned down. 0, 2, and 1. Not a good look for him. 77 to 53, just falling behind now in that CS. You can see May now in a bad spot. 4 members on this top side of the map. He pops the Maelstrom, goes in, Chunks eating the tower. He's going to go down. May gets the solo kill. He will fall for it. Dinter now coming out on this top side. Can he find some retribution kills? It looks like Empty might go down as well. He throws out the Q. He's on the run. The slow is not going to be enough though. Dashes forward. He might just take sticks as Toys is joining his teammate in this top side. That's going to be the Void Rush to get the Rek'Sai to safety. Stitch will be safe as well, but overall a one for one. May doing fantastically to get that kill.
And I want to say, got to give, as you said, a lot of credit to May. Saw that there was the overcommit on the tower dive, the misuse of that tower aggro, and weren't able to control it well enough, although God JJ, we'll talk about that in a second.
Oh yeah, uses the spell shield to block that boomerang, gets himself some mana, should be able to use the boomerang blade. It's not going to connect. LOFS nowhere near full on that Narvar. In fact, it's completely empty. Does not want to play around with God JJ, who still has that BF sword in his pocket. Has to peel off of that one, trying to apply some pressure, but that's going to be the teleport down now for LOFS.
LOFS not able to find an impact there. This is the big thing I want to talk about, looking at Dinter's Echo compared to Empty's Echo in the previous game. Empty, as we said, didn't have the tools to really find the stun, and also didn't look comfortable throwing out that Parallel Convergence. This is what I saw. Toys in the top lane throughout the gravity field. Did he have enough damage to get a kill? No. But Dinter immediately responded by throwing the Parallel Convergence just outside of it. The way that these two play together as a mid laner and a jungler shows me that they have practiced this composition, that this is something that they know how to execute with, and it's going to be so oppressive as they move forward into the game.
Yeah, now with that top lane pressure being applied, looks like HKE might be taking their second tower of the game and stretching that lead. Toys, that's going to be the Shurima shuffle in the mid lane. He's going to get locked down. He goes down, but Chunks is the one that comes up with the kill. Fantastic, and fancy footwork by Candy, but not quite where you want to allocate that kill to, but a kill is a kill, so MSE looking to get what they can take. They get that kill on the top tier 1 turret goes down.
God JJ, as expected, using this Sivir to force down these objectives, using that map movement, and we're going to get to watch this one. This is beautiful from Candy, I got to say. Huge mechanical outplay, the Tokyo drift into the Shurima shuffle. Just beautiful, beautiful, like gets the knockup, has the team here to make this. And I mean, more than anything, not even on Candy's part, that's just coordinated effort from MSE to put pressure in the lane. But another
here
fight right now.
comes Ola, that's going to be the Soul Shackles going through. Chunks on the side, he's getting caught out by Dinter. Candy, he does go down, the flash forward by May. They will find that kill, and flash forward by God JJ, I should say. Helps find that kill. It's a 3-0 in retribution of losing Toys earlier on, and this should open them up to take down this tier 1 tower in the mid lane. HKE flexing their muscles. You don't get to take any of their team members' lives without losing a few of your own.
And this is HKE showing their experience once again. That is the hallmark of good teams. They never give anything away for free. HKE, they knew so many resources were burned. they punished them. With those resources gone, they're freely able to move into pressure, and now to take out a tier 2 tower. I mean, we watched a 38-minute game where for 10 minutes, almost nothing happened on the map. Now we're watching a game where the action is non-stop. Look at this. Dinter pressuring on the side, Ola doing everything he can, and God JJ with On the Hunt gives his teams the tools and the mobility necessary to clean this up, even under a tower. Dinter, he's below 30% health, man. That guy is gone in an instant.
Those 3 stacks just doing work. And look at that, 5-0-2 now on this Echo. Down in CS, but it doesn't even matter. I'd love to see the gold lead that he has amassed for himself. And what percentage of that is, for his team. It's got to be a massive amount.
It's definitely, and you're seeing right now why, when we look at HKE, why they have that wards placed per minute stat. Look at the inventories of this team. We already have 2 sight stones on this team.
Ola in a bad spot, and this comes Chunks around the side. The play's not going to connect, but I don't think it matters too much. Ola in a bad spot. Toys as well has that heal. He's not going to be able to get out alive. However, he goes down. Chunks yet again finding that kill, but now God JJ coming in. He gets 1 as he takes down LOFS. Chunks just a hit away from dead, but not able to find that one. And now here comes Candy, uses that Emperor's Divide to just get Dinter off of his back. Dinter actually got pinned into the wall, couldn't move by the look of it. So really good placement on that Emperor's Divide by Candy. But again, has to use that just so he can get out alive. 10-5 here now between these 2 teams.
And HKE once again with an insanely large gold lead. We're looking at about 5K already, only 15 minutes in, and this is massive. MSE though, they may have built a composition all about early lane advantages. They may have built a composition for most part that looks like comfort picks, a little bit of chain CC, but mostly like these comfort picks for each of these players. The redeeming factor about these teams is that at the end of the day, Azir can carry.
Yeah.
No matter what happens, Azir will hit the late game and his damage will be insane. He will do enough to win these team fights. With the Thresh and with the Gnar, they have the zone control necessary to protect this Azir as well. So if MSE can stop hemorrhaging these objectives, if they can stop the bleeding now, they may be able to come back, but they're running out of opportunities. They've made enough mistakes already. They cannot continue on this path.
Yeah, and one of the things that they really need to help them stop the bleeding, as you have so aptly put, is get some ward coverage. Look at this ward coverage across the minimap here from the side of HKE. It's absolutely phenomenal. I only see really 2 wards. 1 pink in the top, and then 1 here by the Wolf camp in the bot side of their own jungle. MSE just not able to see anything. They do see that dragon. I didn't see that ward there. So they will have a timer on that, but that's the 2nd dragon going over to HKE, looking to be a little bit of a repeat from the last game.
And this is, honestly, just HKE playing much more confidently. They've generated the vision necessary to make decisions like this. They moved down to take this turret because they knew Rek'Sai's in their jungle. They saw him on the Scuttle Crab as he moved in. They knew they were able to get this. And Stitch committed to the top lane to push. You've got 2 members on the top side, and you've got all 5 of yours on the bottom side. That's an easy turret to take, even without a massive gold advantage. But now, the gold advantage just continues to grow. This is the power of Hong Kong esports. Not only when they have picks that are effective for them, like this Echo and Victor, but also when you have this Sivir, when it allows you this insane map mobility. And MSE just were not prepared for this drastic change in team
Stitch is recalling. Can they stop him? They do. Flash forward. May gets the twisted advance. He gets locked down. The question really is, who is going to get the kill? Looks like it might be Dinter. He does find it. The death ray from Toys. Not going to be able to take that one away. That's a 6-0-2 Echo. Fantastic play coming out from all of HKE. Really aggressive to get that stop in the top side, but a kill is a kill, and they want to keep Stitch down as long as they possibly can. And at this point, the question is, can he actually recover? Graves, from this point forward, he doesn't have a single completed item. BF sword, pickaxe in his pocket with a brutalizer. He's not really going to be doing too much, especially to somebody on the front line like May, who already has the Righteous Glory and Ninja Tabby completed.
And unfortunately for MSE, it looks like they're starting to panic. What shows me this is the itemization. The Black Cleaver coming in for Gnar, choosing that over a tanky item. Not worried about team fighting, worried more about, getting through and being able to dish out damage, which at this point, it isn't a viable option. They're not going to be able to team fight, and Graves cannot finish the Infinity Edge. He has this Brutalizer instead, and I've been there. We've all been there. We've all had those games where you're behind, but you have to stay strong. You have to focus, and you have to realize that you're not losing due to individual plays. You're not losing because you don't have enough damage. You're not losing because Ole is taking literally everything from you. You're losing because you're not moving well enough across the map, and these aren't items that help that. These aren't items that help your team fighting. Damage is not the answer.
Ooh, that's so bad. Stitch gets bound up. It's going to be the Soul Shackles. That's all she wrote, folks. Toys with the Chaos Storm and the Death Ray. Finish him off. That's his 5th death of the game. Absolutely.
Yeah, I call that the look
crazy.
him in the eyes flash. Toys flashed over the wall and he was already dead. He just like wants to give his opponent the respect, look you in the eyes before I take you out. Maybe not necessary, but wants to make sure that Graves is going to go down, even if Graves wants to burn any more of his own summoners. So, once again, these picks now coming through. We saw HKE try this exact same strategy last game, where they would just force picks and then turn those into objectives. And now it's going even better.
Oh yeah, Candy getting snatched up here. The Empress Divide comes out. He actually takes the Dark Passage to safety, but now empty, maybe in a bad spot as he gets locked up by that Parallel Convergence. He's trying to get in underneath of his turrets as fast as he can, but now Dinter is getting caught out, has to use the ultimate to get himself to safety. Heals back a little bit of that damage, but mostly just relocates his position, so he will keep himself alive. But now, with this top wave crashing in, they should be able to get this tier 2 and take out the last of the outer turrets here. We go on to this one. LOFS is playing quite far forward. The Boomerang's not going to connect. Ola almost predicts the hop with that Dark Binding, but this will be the tower going down, stretching that gold lead even more. Let's see, it's now almost 8,000 in favor of Hong Kong Esports. Playing fantastically. I'd say they can go for Baron, but it's not even up for another 25 seconds.
I mean,
that's how devastating this is. It's not even 20 minutes.
It's definitely a rough game for MSE. And MSE, once again, it all goes back to that lane swap at the start of the game. HKE pulled that off. MSE had no idea what was happening. They keep sticking to this defensive 5-point start, but they should have known. Why would anyone go up against Graves Thresh? Why would you opt into going into that lane in the early game? And they should have known that HKE wouldn't make that suggestion or wouldn't make that choice. Even then, MSE, tried to force a dive over aggressively in response to this lane swap and weren't able to do so. So at the end of the day, it all goes back to this early lane swap. It's not even about Dinter and this obviously amazing impact that he's been able to have on Echo. It's about, MSE not moving around the map fast enough, although the Lantern surely helps, and just not having the confidence to play in those lane swap kind of situations.
Candy has to be taken to safety now. Empty in a very bad spot, tunneling forward, but Ola is just going pace for pace with him with those Soul Shackles. They lock him down. It's going to be May taking away that kill. 4-2-2 on the Maokai. God, JJ playing quite well as well. 2-0-6 on his Sivir. Being quite impactful here. LOFS, he's trying to get some pressure on the top side of the map, but I just don't know what he can accomplish here. He does have teleport available, so he could try to make some sort of flank play should HKE play forward, but the ward selection is very lacking for him.
And the vision is just continuing to get pressed in. You can see how defensive MSE's vision has been. It's relegated to their own jungle. They can't push out past this. They can't push in for Baron or Dragon vision. They have to ward over the wall when they can. They should be scared, honestly, to push in for these bushes because they don't know who's waiting, and because you can see how few members are showing for HKE on the map right now. It's Ola and it's May, and the rest of the 3 members up until just a second ago were an unknown factor. So MSE on the back foot, and HKE, just like last game, but even more effectively, are choking MSE out, pushing this vision back, forcing them into a position where they either need to pull the trigger and make a decision or slowly lose control of this game.
Big question now is, what do HKE do next? You can see Dinter taking away these wolves. Empty throws out the Prey Seeker, too little too late though. He's not going to be able to find any extra CS for himself. You can see that the 3rd dragon of the game has spawned. All of HKE is just going to go ahead and collapse over onto that side. Ola doing what he can, throwing out those bindings, trying to stop MSE from maybe even collapsing in onto this dragon pit, but to do that would certainly be suicide. They do not push forward, and that's going to be Dinter yet again picking up the 3rd dragon of the game. So now that 5% move speed in their pocket. LOFS, he gets locked up. That's a Parallel Convergence stun as well. Dinter finds that kill. 7-0-2. Now Chunks with that exhaust going on to him. Ola flashes forward, gets the Soul Shackle onto Empty. He's likely going to be the next one to fall as they go onto him. The Twisted Advance to lock him down. Toys walks away that kill. Dinter still playing quite far forward despite being quite low. Throws out the Parallel Convergence. It will not connect. Chunks in a very bad spot. Pinned against the wall. Toys finds himself another kill. It should be a double kill for him. And then May coming around the side. Twisted Advance onto Candy. who cleanses it off, but to no avail. He's going to fall. That's a triple kill. Can he get the quadra kill on a Stitch? No, it's going to be the Dark Binding as Ola finishes them off. That is the ace coming in from HKE. They're going to take down the Baron, and really, it looks like they're going to just walk away with this game.
HKE, I mean, so dominant. Once again, the bindings coming in left and right from Ola have been absolutely crucial for this team to find success. Dinter didn't even need to follow up with a parallel convergence, but we're going to get to watch it again here. Binding, boom, hits LOFS. They pull the trigger immediately on the hunt. Burn. This team is so coordinated, and it's so easy for them to execute with this massive lead. I love this from Ola, too. Let's watch him again. Flashes, but sees that the chain disconnects as he flashes, so moves back to secure empty. There's just very good awareness of his own abilities, of this champion. And now, I mean, MSE, Dinter, not even remotely scared, is low, but can always just hop back if he needs to.
Yeah, and poor Chunks just backing himself into a corner here. Rough Life gets taken down, and then they just collapse right back in here. Candy throws out that Emperor's Divide just to no avail. That empowered auto attack from Toys after the Siphon Power just melting right through him, and they just wrap up.
And unfortunately for MSE, this is a game that is more likely than not going to end in their favor. This is the rough part of the game where you have to say, we have a long shot at coming back. Maybe this is year can scale. Maybe HKE will make a mistake that we can punish, but there's no reason to assume that. So this is what you do. You stay in the game, you focus, and you plan for the next game. What went wrong? What do we need to change next time? What needs to happen so we don't fall behind so quickly? And in this case, it needs to be preparing for that lane swap, that level 1 vision, and making sure if you're going to build a composition about getting the 2v2 lane, that you get the 2v2 lane. So in the meantime, we're waiting for HKE to make the move, to pull the trigger, to end the game, to find that advantage. And for MSE, they got time to think. They need to plan, because this right now, if they drop this game, which it's looking like they will, they're going to be down 2 games. They're going to be, at match point, and their hopes for Worlds are going to be out the door pretty quickly.
Yeah, certainly looking rough for them, like you said. Looking forward to the next game. Might just be the most positive outlook that they could have at the given moment. Still do, never say never. They still do have that.
No, exactly.
Chance
I mean, the Azir is always there.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you can't just walk into the next game and pick Azir and think that that's going to solve your problems. You need to plan for the next game as well. And, I mean, they've got time. They need to push their waves back, play defensively, wait for this Azir to scale. During that time, just prepare, Yeah.
So, Stitch. Things are looking up. Finally completes his first item, the Infinity Edge, coming in at 25.5 minutes. We can see Dinter and God JJ already on this Baron, though. Toys, Ola coming around the side. Absolutely no vision in about a 50-yard radius around this Baron pit.
And this is the thing, is that MSE just cannot contest. I mean, at 3K gold, at 5K gold, maybe even 7K gold, sure, you can contest. But at 14K, uh-oh.
Oh, here we go. Empty. He gets locked up. The parallel convergence will not connect, but the Soul Shackle does over the wall. Dinter still on the hunt here, as On the Hunt has been popped. He's going to flash the wall, maybe have some tunnel system to get him out. No. Ola finds the kill. Actually thought that was going to be the Chaos Storm, but Morgana walking away with her second of the game. And now it looks like this push is going to continue in the top side of the map. The wave clear, the siege potential here from the side of HKE is just so good. That Death Ray and the Boomerang Blade will just work through any wave that comes forward toward HKE. LOFS, he's playing on the spot side of the map. That's going to be the Parallel Convergence Connect. He's in a bad spot, uses the short hop to try to get away. They're both just stacking on each other with their passives, but I think we know who's going to come out on top of this one. Without that Narbar fulfilled, Dinter just makes quick work of LOFS, who's maybe just playing around the wrong side of the map.
And, just a tiny bit of magic resistance may have helped that LFS there. May have let him come out on top, but he's building aggressively still. Finally gets that as he goes down. But, the base damages alone from Echo at this point in the game, paired with that nice little boost from Baron buff and those Baron-empowered minions, making it more than easy for Dinter here. And Empty.
Oh, yeah, once again getting caught out. The Twisted Advance goes on to him. He gets made quick work of as God JJ finds his third kill of the game. 3-0-11, playing so fantastically. And I got to say, I give credit to this guy. This was somebody that we weren't sure how he was going to perform because of his history with Ola in the past and their communication. And, his short time on the team coming back. he's been playing quite well in both of these
games so far. And I think
this
is, when you look at the Hong Kong esports lineup, this is the perfect way to utilize him. Don't put him on a late game scaling hyper carry. Don't put him on an early game aggressive character. Put him on a character who has utility, who can make these consistent players that you know will come through like Toys, like Dinter, that much more effective, because Sivir will always be able to output damage.
Oh, that's going to be the catch onto LOFS. He's going to go down quite quickly. Meanwhile, Stitch in the backside. It's going to be the flash forward from Ola. They take him out. Ola actually finds that kill. He's all... Oh, I thought he was going to go down. He actually makes it out alive. Chunks and Empty, the only... Chunks, Empty, Candy, the only members alive right now. Candy doing what he can to play quite far forward. He's got those Sand Soldiers that he's throwing through, just trying to clear out this wave, but it's not going to happen. The Baron empowered minions are just too strong. Toys, he almost gets the kill over on the Chunks. Not able to find the killing blow quite just yet, but the base of MSE is just getting devastated right now. And it looks like they're actually going to peel out of this one. They're not going to put the final nail in the coffin.
You got to back off. Got to wait for your cooldowns. Got to
want to get too greedy.
Yeah, I mean, there's no reason. Like, they would have to wait for another minute anyway for all of those, really for the super minions to hit the Nexus. So you might as well back. You might as well get your items and secure your victory here. Because if this was 40 minutes, you know, like maybe you live through inhibitors down because Azira is so powerful at that point he can reliably clear waves. But we're at 29 minutes. There's 3 inhibitors down. HKE are moving in. They will most likely end the game.
They're getting a 4th dragon.
I mean, do you, HKE, do what you got. You know, at the end of the day, whatever happens, they want to win this game. Yeah. And there's no reason for them not to take every step that is necessary for them to end this game. So, 4th Dragon, just another thing to make it easier.
Well, step 1, kill Empty. Again, he does have the Void Rush, I think, but I don't think he's going to get to use this one. The slow's coming out from Dinter. Can he get the stun? Not going to happen. He's getting that dash forward. They're spending an awful lot of time hunting him down, but they do finally finish. GodJJ will get his 4th kill. Meanwhile, the rest of MSC stuck in their base, completely relegated to cleanup duty as they try to take down these super creeps that are just pushing in on all fronts. Here comes the rest of Hong Kong esports moving in, victory in their eyes. This first tower is going to get chunked down quite quickly. You see that one being made very quick work of. Oh, a very nice snapback from Dinner with his ultimate. Does keep him out of the fountain from taking that fatal damage. They will go ahead and take down LOFS. The second Nexus turret has fallen. That's going to be the Nexus going down. They might get a kill. No, Ola with the Zonius. Can he get out alive? No, he doesn't. They get one last kill over onto Stitch. But all in all, that's HKE coming out now 2-0 in this best-of-5 series.
And, I mean, this is the 2 different sides of HKE. There's HKE when they're unsure, when they're hesitant, when they're playing champions and compositions that they're not quite so comfortable on. And then there's the HKE when they have a team that they know how to execute. And this was a team for them that they executed flawlessly. Lane swap with the Sivir. Get her to level 6 as fast as possible. You know, immediate response to the way that MSE moved across the map. They predicted that tower dive. They read it perfectly. They were able to get that double kill, and it just didn't stop from there. Taking tower after tower after tower, snowballing the advantage, choking MSE out. And if they play like that again in the next game, if MSE cannot find some steps in the early game, it's going to be absolutely impossible for them to win. But MSE have time. They have Liliballs. They have that coach with the insight that we talk so much about. Something's got to change, and I think Liliballs can change it.
All right, well, if he has the ability to do that, now is the time to really turn on the game. MSC down to potentially their last lifeline here. 2-0, a fantastic start for SKE. I mean, HKE, we've seen reverse sweeps before. With the momentum, with the power that these guys are bringing to the table, I just don't know if I see it happening for MSC.
Once again, jungle picks are going to be very important, but so is the level 1, because they need that vision down. And we can't state this enough, how much that game stemmed from these early level 1 plays. But also, they finally got Empty on a champion that we've seen in the past that we know he can have impact on, but they didn't really execute with it well at all, unfortunately. And part of that is because in those lane swap situations, you really limit the impact your jungler can have, because he has to do one or two things. There's really only a few options that he has, and I like that decision from HKE, but I expect to see a swift and decisive response from MSE in the game to follow.
Well, I want to see if Dinter is able to get his hands on that Echo again, because it was quite crushing. Landing those parallel convergences one after the other, just over and over again. Massive stuns.
And not only, I mean, it's insult to injury. You lose the game. Your enemies pick the champions that you could not execute on, and then execute so very well. You know, just absolutely oppressive.
Yeah. It's a fantastic game from HKE. We're going to have to see if MSE is able to net themselves a victory, maybe take us to a Game 4. But when we come back, it's going to be Game 3, and we'll see if Hong Kong Esports is able to close out the series and move on to face the Flash Wolves.